What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Jimmy Old School Flips, and you are listening to Full-Time Flippers Podcast right here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe.
This week on the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast.
Today, we've invited the authority on motivation for resellers to the podcast. You excited for this, Denis?
I am.
Right.
I'm ready.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm Chad the Quirky Picker. I'm a full-time reseller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi, everyone. I'm Denis, the Free King Flipper. I'm a full-time reseller from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
I'm an everything seller, but I love to sell all kinds of electronics and anything unique and vintage.
I'm an everything seller as well, but I really enjoy finding and flipping our vintage toys, Sony Walkmans, vintage electronics.
Join us each week as we discuss life as a full-time reseller. We will share our experiences, both the good and the not so good.
Learn from our expertise and our mistakes.
From sourcing to listing to shipping,
Customer interactions, we will cover it all.
this is the Full-Time Flippers
Reselling Podcast.
Welcome to the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast, episode number 12. I am Chad the Quirky Picker, and I'm here with my co-host.
The Free King Flipper. Yo.
Hey,
what's
Denis. Hey. Hey, how was your week?
You're not going to believe this, but this was the best week I've had all year.
Wow.
By far, hands down. And I'm not going to give it away because one of the home run segment, my home run for this week is the reason why this week has been incredible. Sales have been off the chain.
Yeah.
And then I think it's very contagious when you're selling things. I have no proof of this, but other stuff just started to sell. But I'll let you know later on in the home run strikeout segment what I found and sold quickly and really boosted my week. So I'm psyched. It's been great.
Yeah, it's Friday. We're recording this in the afternoon, and there was 4 community development yard sales this morning, but we had rain, and I only hit one of them actually. That's all I had time for, and bought another vacuum cleaner. I seem to always find
Nice.
vacuum cleaners. This one was a Lux vacuum cleaner, and this is a comp. This isn't mine, but they're asking $120 for it. I paid $10 at the yard sale, and it included a bunch of vacuum bags and stuff with it. So I'm hoping to get over $100 for that. But we were on the Slim Flippers podcast this week. It just came out a couple days ago, and he asked me if I was still selling vacuum cleaners, and I told him I had just bought one. Well, I just bought another one. So sometimes you got to buy what you're given. And
Agreed. I'm guessing that's a German one or Austrian brand, something like that.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Oh.
So yeah, I hit maybe I think about 12 yard sales this morning. I wasn't counting exactly, but I'm a little over 10. Yeah, the rain never stopped. So if there was several people that had like tables outside covered and they weren't outside. So I mean, I guess they're waiting until tomorrow, which is supposed to rain tomorrow. You can have a beautiful week and then a weekend of rain.
That was my summer last year. Every single Saturday rained.
Yeah.
And so there were very few yard sales. I think they said like 16 out of 18 Saturdays was rain.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well,
Real bad.
when your livelihood depends on good yard sales, it hurts your bottom dollar too. So
It really does.
yeah. All right. Moving on to viewer mail. I have one viewer mail comment from Harry Humpstone. Harry says he's a new sub here, looking forward to future shows. Here's Harry's YouTube page. He's got some cool videos. I'm going to have to watch some of them. Sells a lot of neat things.
Yeah, I saw some vintage looks like Tyco stuff down there. And then he's got a red line in his
Yeah.
keep going down a bit. They got a right there.
Oh.
See that on the right?
Slot cars. If I click on this
Nice.
one.
Very cool.
Oh.
Ooh. All I see is money. Wow.
Well,
Wow. I'm drooling
all right.
over here.
So, Harry, thanks for the feedback, and we look forward to having
Thanks.
you as a viewer. We'll check your stuff out. All right, moving on. We're coming to the segment that we do occasionally from time to time. It's called Motivational Moment with Denis. And we asked Denis if he can motivate us. And Denis is a good motivator. But today, we've invited the authority on motivation for resellers to the podcast. You excited for this, Denis?
I am.
Right.
I'm ready.
Welcome to the show, the JDF.
It's your boy, the JDF, are coming at you. 1, 2, double chrono, because time is money. Thanks for being here. Let's get it going.
That is an awesome intro. I mean, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Well, all right, I am the JDF, Jimmy the Dolphin Flipper. I go way back in the reselling. I've been a little bit more of a hype man and a sourcer for my main man Paige, otherwise known as the 1 Foot Flipper. As we worked together, I realized that there were a lot of people out there that were trying to figure out, how do I get into reselling? How do I get into the videos? How do I, make this part of my life? And I realized that there was a lot of sunshine that we could bring, because there was a bunch of theys out there. Theys who were telling you you're not good enough. Theys who were telling you you're not smart enough. Theys who were telling you you can't have a jet ski. Theys who are telling you you can't have that reselling and be able to cut yourself free from the regular working world and take care of yourself and your family. And Paige and I said nope, and so we decided to start bringing the sunshine.
So, JDF, what motivates you when you wake up every day?
Tell you what, when I get up, I look at my wife, I look at my beautiful little boy, baby G, who's going to be 2 pretty soon, and I see all the things out there. But when I see people doing things that make them happy, when I see people like Paige, a fellow who's got 1 leg, who had half his leg eaten by a flesh-eating bacteria, be able to pay for his house, be able to take care of his wife and his child, to be able to save up, to have bigger and better things, that makes me smile. When I see people who didn't think that they could succeed in whatever world they were in, succeeding, that gets me going. When I see others building things they didn't think they could build, that makes my day.
So my quick story was, I was a police officer and I was absolutely miserable at this job. Miserable. And, long story short, I went to school for it. I've been in that whole environment for so long. I started thinking I'm stuck. That whole feeling of you can't do anything else. This is what you're supposed to do, and this is what you went to school for. And you hear a lot of chatter and a lot of noise with doubters and haters. And 3 years ago, I finally said I'm done, and I want to be happy. So a lot like very like what you said, you have to be happy. You have to be doing what you enjoy. And how do you, what would you say to someone that was in my position where they're like, hey, JDF, I can't leave my job. I can't. I have a kid, or I have a mortgage. I can't do that, but I'm good at reselling and I enjoy it. I do maybe some part-time stuff. What would you say to those people? Like, how would you tell them there's light at the end of the tunnel?
All right, first off, I would say you can do it. They talk about light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train coming at you. Somebody like you, I tell you, when I sit there, see there, you go from law enforcement. We're talking about a job where you are literally putting your life on the line to do something like this, all because you had that thing. I need to be happy. I need to take care of me, and I need to take care of we. You don't have to snap your fingers and have a 5,000 item store. You don't have to snap your fingers and have your whole basement full of stuff. You can start with 1 item, sell 1 thing, sell 2 things, sell 1 item a week. You don't have to just go day 1, blah, I'm full time.
Yeah, I was part-time for a number of years. Just, hey, we need a little extra money. Let me throw some things on there and sell some stuff. And then I enjoyed it so much. I was torn, between doing something you love so much and then that comfortable misery, is like I like to call that. That's that job that you just hate, but it's convenient. You're comfortable. You're kind of good at it. You're used to it. There's no challenge there, but you hate it. You're miserable. Versus the other side where I don't really know everything about it, but I love it. And I love the freedom it gives me and the lifestyle and the people I meet. So that's where, you're torn, and you eventually have to either jump or get into it and go.
And I agree. That's a tough step. That's a tough step when you're sitting there. It's like Indiana Jones and the chasm of the Last Crusade. It's the leap of
Yep.
faith. And I think what also helps and what needs to be there is that your support system is with you. I think that makes the difference between those who can do this and succeed, and those who go from one drudge to this new reselling drudge, is that some of the days are in their support system. So I got mass respect for anybody that can have the courage and can have the faith to finally flip that switch and go do this full time.
So they go full time, and they're enjoying it, but as well as all of us, it's not. It's a roller coaster, right? It's every day is different. How do you keep yourself going? How do you stay positive? How do you let the returns and all that stuff and the angry customers and I didn't find some good stuff today? How do you get through all that and just keep going?
One thing you got to remember is that just like any other business, this is cyclical, and that there are outside forces. The one thing that I think is a fallacy is the idea that some resellers will get that they are competing with other resellers.
Yeah.
Especially online. I've only got 10 followers and this guy's got 100, or this guy's got 1,000. There are enough buyers out there for everybody to make this, for everybody to do this. And I think that when you hit those lulls, you hit those doldrums, especially you got that time while everybody's doing their taxes and waiting on the money to come in. We had a couple of really fat years with COVID. And now it's leaned back out. So I think that the way you got to go over that is you've got to pay attention to those who are succeeding and those who are willing to share what's helping them succeed. And whether it's budgeting, it's always in regards to cost cutting and things like that. You can find ways to so to speak, like the ants and the cricket, and the grasshopper, so that you can store up, so that when you the main thing is you got to eat your eggs and not your chicken, if you get what I mean.
Very well said. Yeah. Awesome. Good stuff. My final question is about work and work-life balance. We all know we can be neck deep in this because we enjoy it. I'm guilty. My wife will call me to, hey, let's go. It's time to get back to the family life and the other life. How do you balance work and life and family and sourcing and family and reselling? Any tips or tricks?
That's and that's truly is the word balance is so apropos here, because you've all done it. You've been out, you've been at the store, you've been whatever, and you've seen, oh hey, pink Stanley insulated mug, I should get that. You see that for instance, I'm very much into vintage sports cars, vintage Formula One racing in general. So I see something with the Miami Grand Prix, Ferrari's coming out with a special livery for the car. I automatically start thinking, well, got to go to the Puma site, so make sure when the merch is dropped, I can get in there before it gets sold out. So it really comes down to, setting those boundaries.
Right.
There's going to be crossover, especially if you are sourcing heavy and you're looking. And I don't think there's anything wrong with, if you're out with the fam and you see something, maybe just taking 30 seconds to check the phone. But you've got to remember why you're doing and who you're doing for. And I think if you keep that in mind, I think you can find that balance.
Very well said. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'll be out just doing something with the family and I'll be scanning stuff and look, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm just looking. I'm just looking. I can't help it. I can't, it's in our DNA, we want to turn that profit. We want to find something for cheap and flip it. And sometimes there's a time and place where put the phone away, enjoy your time with your family. And, but I'm guilty of doing that too.
You know what though? I think if you trust yourself, you're going to be fine. And I think because I think that if you do something like that, what you got to do is not sit there and beat yourself up afterwards. If you do slip, if you find out, oh hey, we're supposed to be at the movies, and I'm up there, buying 15 special edition popcorn tins. Yep. Don't beat yourself up about it, but be cognizant. Because here's what's going to happen. Your children and things like that, they're going to want to hang out with dad. And before you know it, they're going to turn into, little sources and little sellers. You have no idea the legacy that you can create. You're the stone in the pond, and they're the ripples.
It's a great way to put it, because this year, both of my sons, who are teenagers, started asking questions. Hey, we see what you do every single day. Can you sell this for me? No, but I'll show you how you can sell it. And they're like, okay. And I just ran them through a couple of things, and they're into vintage clothing and cool shirts and hats. And they started selling stuff on a different platform than I use, but it's all the same, and they're enjoying it. So you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, there you go. You just taught them to fish.
Yep.
See, and so what happens, is there's also some crossover there. If you're interested in this other platform they're on, they can teach you about it. And if not, you've got your own separate gigs. How wonderful would it be if through this knowledge that you've passed on to them, that they're able to build a strong enough foundation for themselves that they're not going to have to worry about student loans if they want to go to college. They're not have to worry about credit cards and stupid credit card interest. Being able to be 18, 19, 20 years old and be able to tote the note on their own place. Yeah. To get a leg up on everybody else they go to school with, that's priceless. Yep. That's priceless. It is. So I'm gonna give you a booyah for
that. Denis was talking about time management as far as like family life and reselling life. What about time management within reselling? Do you set goals for yourself on a daily basis? Like you're going to list dollar amounts, or how do you set aside time and balance it all?
A lot of what I do, I sell very little. I sell very niche things. I do some watches. I do some vintage automobilia, things like that. So most of what I do is sourcing and then passing on to someone who is much better at the reselling aspect of it, Paige the 1 Foot Flipper. But what I find that I do is I kind of will get into a zone where I say, you know what, I need to find X number of things because I'm looking to do X number of things with that money, and then kind of proceed there. I'm a little more fast and loose because this is not my main. This is not my main thing. I'm a hype man. I've got another full-time job that allows me to work from home in my luxurious basement office and take care of my people. So I'm a lot more along the lines of support staff for other people. And in that regard, it kind of, whenever I'm needed, the JDF goes to work.
Awesome stuff. Wow. Right. I'm inspired by our own segment and motivated. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to say to whoever is watching, whoever is listening, keep doing what you're doing. All right. Keep learning, keep growing, keep trying. It's not a failure unless you don't learn from it. All right. Do you have to have a YouTube channel with 5 million followers and cutting 3 or 4 videos a week to be successful? No. How are you successful? Ask yourself. That's the question. Am I happy? If you're happy, you're successful. Now go forth and conquer.
All right.
Love it.
Well, yeah. Thanks for stopping in, dropping in, joining us, motivating us, and good word.
Yeah.
Right on,
JDF,
fellas.
thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
you're welcome.
it.
Go make that paper.
That's right.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to home runs and strikeouts. Your best and worst sales of the week. What do you have, Dennis?
Well, like I said before, the week started off absolutely insane. I had a friend of a friend. He just called up one day and said, "Hey, I'm cleaning up my garage, and I have a whole bunch of old stuff that I just want to get rid of." And he's like, "I'll even drop it off." And just literally dropped off
Nice.
a bucket of stuff at my front door. And I went out there. I thanked him 100 times already, but vintage, U.S. made, Rockford Fosgate car amps, and there were actually these first two are mine. So I think there's 5 of them. All 5 are gone. 3 Rockford Fosgates, an Alpine, and a Kenwood. All 2 and like 4-channel car amps. Kind of, dusty from being in the garage for a while, but I cleaned them up real nice. I listed them, and it wasn't even I wouldn't even say it was a half a day, and gone. They're they just flew. So I packed them up and shipped them out. So some of them are heavy, and I utilize some flat rate boxes, but I really protected them really well. All 4 corners. It's aluminum casing, like these ribs here, the cooling ribs. It's aluminum, so it can be fragile. We know how gentle the carriers are, but absolute home run, if not grand slam, at least a 2-run homer here. But yeah, so they're all gone, every single one of them. That really boosted my week like crazy. I think it was just under $600 when I sold all of them.
Yeah.
Or right around that.
I've had Rockford Fosgate in the past, and I think back in the late 80s and 90s, like their motto was you could take like a hammer to the device and it wouldn't damage it. They were built so solid. There's either a commercial or something of somebody beating one up with like a rubber mallet, and it didn't even phase it. So
I don't know if I'd want to try that, but the new owners can totally try that and let me know how it goes. So my strikeout, I don't have any visual, but I don't know why I did this. I sent out one of those full seasons, and I should know this by now. I have a ton of media, and I didn't look through the whole thing. I don't know why. I must have missed it, or maybe the buyer's embellishing a little bit, but I'm going to blame it on myself for not listing it. So this is a good lesson. Every time you're taking, your pictures of your media, and it's one of those multi-disc one, take a picture of every single one and make sure it's in your listing. So I didn't do that. And now I have no way of proving that, that they all were in there. So he's claiming that one of the discs was missing. Okay. That's on me. So learn from that. Take a picture of every single one. If it's a full season of whatever, open the thing up and it's very redundant because they all look exactly the same, but it'll say like disc 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get that in the listing, and that way you can say, well, yeah, no, they're all in there. And then you have at least something to stand on. I don't, so he's going to get a refund, and I'm just going to move on with it. So not a huge strikeout, but it was a lesson. I should have known better.
Well, my home run at an estate sale, I purchased for $17 an 1880s office chair made of wood, and I have some. I'll show you just what it looks like.
Oh, cool!
This right here, this chair.
Wow.
Let's see. It looks like it had a skirt around it at one time that came off, but the back tilts. It's sold for $230 plus shipping, and it weighed like 37 pounds. I had to build a box for it, 18 by 18 by 18 box, and I took the back part off, and then so the bottom part, and then I put insulation all the way around the box on the inside, and all all the sides, and then bubble wrapped the back and threw that in the box as well. And then put a bunch of extra filling and extra cardboard around the corners and around the edges. I wrapped it one time because I'm like, yeah, for this much money and this thing's that old, I can't afford to have this thing damaged. So that was my home run. Well, I did have another home run. I had a couple home runs actually this week. This here is a clock. It's a Zodiac Watches clock. It was like an advertisement inside of a jeweler's store. I paid $39 for this. And I didn't I saw the glass was broken, but I didn't realize that the plastic was broken on the inside. And so that really took the damage, or really took the value down. I ended up selling it for $100. There's the piece of glass. And then I gave the person the option of I could just throw away the glass or include it. And they said, throw it away. All they wanted was the clock parts on the inside. They don't even want the plastic. It's like a lighted clock, has a light inside. They just wanted the guts of this clock. They didn't care about the advertisement. So I kind of pointed out the cracks and stuff. And whoops, as you can see.
Oh, I see them.
So, yeah. Had it not been cracked, I should have gotten $250 for it. So they just wanted the case and the clock guts because the clock did work. So that was home run number 2.
I'm wondering if they have their own face that they're going to put on there or something.
I'm sure they do. They must have had one where it didn't work on the inside.
Yeah. Very
so
cool.
I would have liked, wish I could have got more money for it, but I was expecting about 250 is in my mind when I bought it. All right. And then this here was a home run. This is an old horn from the 1920s. It's called Atwater, Kent. It's a loudspeaker. And I'm not even sure how they use these exactly. There's some it doesn't have any guts in it, but it's just a hollow horn that I guess amplifies. You can put like a small device inside it and it just makes it much louder by the time it, reaches the outside of the horn. I remember like the old Victrola record players that used to have a needle and they had something like this on top of it. My grandmother had one of those and I don't know what happened to it. Uh-oh, got an offer. I don't know what happened to it, but I sold this horn. I paid, let's see what I paid for it. I paid $30 for this horn and I sold it for $110. So I had 3 sales this week over $100. I think I might have had another, but I had a good week too. So yeah, those are some of my home runs. So my strikeout was something I bought at a yard sale this week. It's a lock for a trailer hitch. And as you can see, it's metal and it's heavy, weighs like 3 or 4 pounds. And I paid $4 for it. I didn't comp it at the yard sale, but I thought maybe it's worth about 30 or 40. And it was worth maybe 29 plus shipping. And there's a whole bunch of solds and very few just a few listed. So I got it home, took it out of the box to take pictures. There's no keys.
Oh,
so it's worthless. I can't even sell it for parts. Like everything's got a lock on it. So lesson learned. Check your locks. If you buy a lock, make sure it has a key. It felt stupid. Could have saved myself $4. Yeah. All right. Moving on to BOLOS and NOLOs. One thing to be looking for, and then one thing that you wouldn't buy again. Go for it, Dennis.
This was also not a home run, but an awesome sale this week. And I had no idea. The only reason why I picked this thing up was because another seller in front of me, I think he was a seller. I'm pretty sure this guy was a seller. Picked it up, looked at it, turned it all around and just put it back down. So I picked it up. It was still in the box. This is a vintage Pyrex percolator for like coffee, right?
Yeah. And
if you can see, there's a lot of different pieces. There's parts, used ones. Mine was brand new. Oh, there it is right there. Right here. See the box? See the cardboard still in it? I bought this for $4.99 at a thrift store and it was flipped for $80.
Jeez.
But you can see there's a lot of them in here. There's a used one for 70 and one for 60. Oh, look at this. Now I'm getting
You got an offer. I got an offer. You got an offer.
This is wild. Here's one for 50. Here's another one for 80, 40 and 50. So look for these. I think the number is right here. 7754B.
Okay.
And this is a 4-cup. Mine was a 6-cup. 6-cup percolator right there. It said it right on the box. Yeah, we get it. And it sold in, I think, 3 days. It was gone in 3 days. But I had a ton of offers. I think I was up to 14 watchers at one point, and somebody offered me $60, and I said, "Not with 14 watchers. I'm going to hold off." And sure enough,
Yeah,
the very
right.
next
Yep,
day,
yep.
very next day, it was gone. And yeah, that's a really fun one.
Yeah.
So, vintage Pyrex percolator. Very cool bolo, and my Nolo is boring. The only reason why I thought of this was because I found a whole bunch of CDs on tape. Book on CD. The Nolo is book on tape. Like, I don't think many people are going to be buying cassette tapes, and I find them all the time. I'm even reluctant to pick up these. The only reason why I did was because it's Stephen King.
Yeah.
And they're not great. I think I paid $1 each for these. But I have another one, which is the Green Mile and the Stand and Cujo. There's a whole bunch of them. So I don't know. I just said I thought I'd take a chance for $1 a piece. There's 14 discs in this one. I will take a picture of all 14, and I'll list them. I don't know, probably like $15. That's probably all they're worth. But the cassette ones, book on tape, the original book on tape, unless it's an obscure title, there's always an exception to the rule. I would stay away from those.
Yeah. All right. Well, my bolo is something I found a couple weeks ago at a yard sale. I walked up and I thought it was Legos. And as I look closely, I'm like, this isn't Legos. And what I found was it's called an Exon Castle.
Wow.
Now, I listed it for $99 and it sold. I had the only one. There's like 5 different castles in this golden series. And this was series 3 out of 5. And I was the only one. There was no solds in 3 years and no one had one listed. But all the similar sets were selling for like $80. So I listed mine for $99 and it sold for $80. Let's see if I can show you some pictures. I took it out of the box and laid it all the pieces out, and it was missing maybe, I don't know what it's like, 3 or 4 pieces total, and mostly like stickers and flag, and the tips of all the castle tops were broke off. And I got 80. I mean, someone offered me 80, and I know all the other sets sold for like 80. This one might be more rare just because there was like series 1, 2, and 4 and 5. There was like several of them out there, but nobody had series 3. So I paid $3 for this at a yard sale, sold it for 80. And
nice.
Yeah, I've never heard of Exon Castles, but when I go to Terapeak and I look up Exon Castles, as you can see, these are sold the last 3 years. This top one sold a little over a year ago. There's no picture. I don't think I can. Nope. That sold for $700. This one, oh wow, that's quite a lot. That's 16 pounds of Exon Castles for $550. Here's a series 3 of a different one than mine, but $544. And then you're still up in the 400s here. Now we're getting down to the 300s. Exon Castles. So yeah,
wonder where they're made.
Yeah. Italy, I believe.
Okay.
If I can remember right. I'm trying to find mine, or similar to mine. Look how bad that box is.
Oh, wow.
And that one still sold for $248 at auction.
Wow.
26 bids, maybe? Is that what that says? Anyhow, Exon Castles, be on the lookout for them. They all have pretty good, and even if it's not complete, you can sell it for parts.
Never heard of it.
Okay, my Nolo is a Presto Cool Daddy deep fryer. I bought this one and I did not have a cable to test it, so I sold it for parts. Well, not parts, but untested. And I kept going back and forth with this guy, and I took an offer finally of $8. They sell for maybe 12 or 15 if they have the power cord. You would think the deep fryer would sell for $20 to $30, but looks like these cheap deep fryers that are small don't have a lot of resale value.
I have one.
You
I think
do?
it's not that one, but
No.
it's similar. It's
For sale?
I think called a Fry Daddy. No, it's one where we just use it
Oh.
sometimes to fried fish in it. But
Moving on to customer service. Talk about your most interesting customer interactions of the week. And I have an update on my record saga. A couple weeks ago, I sold some blank records, and the person got them, and they weren't what I advertised, and they were correct. I found the correct records, and I decided instead of taking a hit on the returns, they agreed to exchange them even up. So I mailed them the correct 11 records that I had, and they were going to send me back the 12 records that I sent them that were wrong. It wasn't going to be an even trade because I had so many returns a few weeks ago. I was afraid it was going to hurt my sales. So I sent them the records, and then they would mail me back the records. And then they said they had a family emergency and that they were going to be gone for a few days. And we both said this was a red flag. Well,
yep.
Then last week I shared that they had ghosted me. A week later, they had ghosted me. Well, I got a response, and it said, "Hello, I will ship them on Monday, May 6th. Sorry, I have still not returned home. The family illness I'm dealing with has now turned complicated into a terminal illness. My apologies for poor communication. My mind is in turmoil. You have my promise that I will ship them on Monday as promised. Thank you for your patience." I still haven't got them yet. That was Monday.
Nope.
They went into too much detail. Is that what your red flag there? Yeah.
You start doing the terminal illness, and then you say promise, or I'll be honest with you, or I promise you. Those are all red flags for me. So what you can do is you can counter their fictitious story by saying another fictitious story, saying that you've contacted your local police department and you would be willing to file a internet crime, IC3 internet crime reporting. It's one of those things. And eBay's been notified or whatever, and just see if that all say, "Hey, we're home. Hallelujah. No more terminal illness. And I'm going to return them for you."
Yeah.
Or return them to you. But like, holy cow, you have to go into all that.
Yeah. I'm going to ask her to send me, I'm pretty sure it's a woman, to send me the tracking number first and then see what happens. Then I'm going to say, well, then I'll go and, call a bluff. Hopefully they don't watch this podcast. All right. Moving on to our final segment, Time Machine, and travel back to a specific year. What would you buy then to resell now? And we chose the year 1955. Denis, do you have anything to share about
going back
1955?
I'm still going back. Okay, I'm here. I'm in 1955, and this is a new one for me because I did a little bit of research on that year, and this is pretty wild. I've heard of these before, but I've never found one. Rushton. Did you ever hear of Rushton, the brand? Rushton.
Vaguely.
These probably look very familiar because you've probably seen them at thrift store, yard sale. Look at some of the prices for these plush. They'll call it like a rubber face or a vinyl face. $600. 200. Yeah, it's insane. This one here seems to be the more popular one. This Tuffy the duck, anywhere between $300 and $600 for them. There's one for $450, but they're all from this brand called Rushton. And all right, easy with that. I know there's people that this is like a no-brainer for them, but this was kind of new for me. I knew the name and I knew what these little kind of plush-looking things were, but I never knew they were going for this kind of money.
Yeah.
Here's one for $1,200. And these are all very recent sales. I mean, it's crazy. So Next time you're at one of your favorite estate sales, I bet you'll start seeing these.
I've seen that monkey that you just saw.
Where is he?
What,
This
right,
one
right
here.
there. Yep.
Zip the monkey.
It only sold for 25, so maybe that's why I've seen it.
There's a pair of them for 160, and so I guess you want to get. Here's a teddy bear and another one here, but it's pretty wild. I didn't think they were worth that. I thought maybe like $40-$50, but there are some there, a few $100 up to $600 for one of these.
Wow.
So I don't know what kind of packaging they came in. I have no idea. 1955. I mean, you're talking seriously a long time ago to still have some of these. And those were in great condition. If you've seen some of the pictures that we just looked at, they looked clean. I don't know. You're going to have to do some type of humidity controlled environment and throw them in a tote. Don't put them up in your attic or the basement. And I'm going to buy that monkey and maybe what was the other one? The dog, the bear, and the duck. That duck was like $400. So that's it.
Yep. Well, it's interesting. This segment is called Time Machine, and we're traveling back to the year 1955 because if you know anything about time travel movies, there's a movie coming out. I believe it's this year, Back to the Future 4. I think it's coming out. And I'm back. So in Back to the Future 1, they travel back to 1955 in the time machine. So we're borrowing the DeLorean and we're going back to 1955. And while Marty's trying to save we're going to ride along with Marty. We're going to hide in the back in the trunk. When Marty's out trying to save, his existence, we're going to be grabbing some items and throwing them in the trunk and then hiding and waiting for him to come back. And so this last weekend, I took my 3-year-old son and my wife. We went to the National Train Museum in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. National Toy Train Museum in Strasburg. Cool. They also have a train museum for large trains. It is incredible. I took my parents there one time, and I can't believe how many trains and train cars and passenger cars and different types of engines they have in this museum. But then the Toy Train Museum is another tourist trap. And our local library, I found out they have free passes. So it's like, hey, let's go. So I checked out the passes, and it's only like 18 minutes from my house. So we spent the day there. And while my 3-year-old was just loving all the trains, me being a reseller, I was doing mental research on all these different trains, trying to figure out what would be a good bolo out of all the, I mean, they had trains from like early 1900s, all the different scales of Lionel trains. They had a whole section on Lego trains, all the different Lego trains. So I was doing a lot of research, but there was one little item, or a big item sort of, that caught my attention. It's called a dope. I think it's a dope key Yardbird. And let me bring up a picture here of what this thing looks like. It's like a pedal car that 2 kids can sit on, and then they can wind it with their hands, and then it moves down a track. See if I have a picture of what the track looks like. So this track here will go out in your yard, and it's massive.
Wow.
And they're asking $1,300 for this. Now, there's not a lot of sold comps for these things, but there's a lot of apparently value. What happened to my? Okay. So someone's asking $895 for this one. So yeah, your kids would just sit on it. I guess I was looking up what it cost originally, and it was like $20 some originally. And then the track was like, you could buy sections of straight track in addition to what came with it. And you could put this around your whole property if you wanted to, if you had enough track. But as you can see, here's something that $1,300 here. Wow. And they're all selling for pretty high. So they had one of these on display at the museum, and I just thought it was cool. Something my father-in-law could restore. He loves to restore pedal cars and stuff. Caught my eye, so I did my research, and yep, I would buy a couple of these sets and the train tracks and everything, and just have fun with it, and then sell it.
So could you get other cars, or is this just like that little pedal thing?
Well, what am I typing in here in the search? I'm typing in the Yardbird. So I don't know how many different other products they made, but it's considered train because I guess it goes on a track.
Very cool.
Yeah. I just looked up the Yardbirds. I don't know what I'll find if I remove the word Yardbird from the search, but I don't have time to do that right now. And if you're interested in checking out the National Toy Train Museum, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that people have taken their cameras in and just like filmed all the various trains. You can get some good BOLO ideas and really quickly gain knowledge on what to look for in toy trains.
I always find Lionel, the classic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is
you
it
buy them?
I think it might be O gauge. It
you
depends.
Trains?
I learned one thing: pre-war and post-war, World War II. Mm-hmm. So pre-war stuff, that's where the money is. Post-war, not so much.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think cardboard boxes pre-war, the boxes they came in could sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands, depending on which one it is. So,
yeah, I found some a couple of years ago, and the boxes were beat up, but the buyers wanted to make sure they were getting the box, not so much what was in it. They wanted. I said, yeah. The little flaps that you close the box up, they were like falling off. They didn't care. They wanted them. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's good money in some of that stuff.
So what do you have planned for this week, Dennis? Got big plans?
We got like, I don't know, 15 different community yard sales. No.
You have any yard sales coming up?
I've got 2.
Okay.
So we're getting better. One of them is on my street.
Oh.
Which is very cool. So I hopefully will be there super early. And then I have one probably like 8 or 9 minutes away. So I'm definitely going to check them out, but it's still very slow. But you just got to keep going to these things, and eventually the weather will cooperate, and it'll be great. So I'm super envious of the sales that you get to go to, because I would absolutely tear it up. I know I would. But eventually we'll get to the point where there's probably 10 to 15 regionally around where I live. And you can't go to all of them. You know what I mean? You just pick all the good ones, and then that golden hour is over. But I can't wait to go to a yard sale. It's been too long. Like a good one, not when you show up and you see 2 tables filled with glassware, you just turn around and drive away. Not that. I'm talking about one where you're digging, or you're making a pile, and then you get to barter like that. That's my speed. I love that stuff. So what are you up to?
Well, there's a few yard sales tonight. I think a couple of them start at 4. And there was a big development by our house that we thought was starting tonight. It's like they do a 6 to 8 on Friday night, and then Saturday morning 7 to 11 is their hours.
Wow.
And it is so crowded, like you can't find parking spots on this street. But we just now today realized it's not till next Friday. So there's just a couple yard sales that we're going to hit tonight, and then tomorrow I'll be hitting a couple really big developments that say 35 plus houses. Since today was rain, I need some good scores tomorrow to make up for the week. Well, that brings us to the end of this podcast, episode 12. Any closing thoughts, Dennis?
I think JDF said all of it. What an awesome guest. Wow, that was enlightening and definitely motivating. I agreed with everything he said, and let us know what you thought. Let us know, do you agree with the comments he made, and do you feel motivated? Are you going to get out there and make the leap this week? Are you going to get out there and get closer to having this be your career if you enjoy it? Let us know in the comments. Again, like, subscribe. If you enjoy what you're watching and listening to, we will be here next week, and we enjoy it. And I love this time that we have together, and the things we share and learn from each other and our viewers. So thanks again, and I appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone. See you later.